Hello, 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 and welcome back to A Little Birdie Told You. I'm your host, Kristen Knight.
And I'm your host, Kelli Knight.
Today, we're going to be offering you guys a little bit of comfort. And I know some people are looking for reassurance. And I don't want to say go to other people for reassurance because I think it is all in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a mindset where you develop self-comfort. And I'm going to tell you pieces of comfort and how to develop self-comfort and look at yourself and evaluate yourself and say, okay, I'm actually comfortable now. Because maybe you're going through a time in your life right now where you feel, wow, I've lost all hope. I feel like I'm in this stagnant portion of my life where I don't really know what to hope for. I don't know if I'm going to achieve this. I don't know if I'm going to have friends. Everyone's leaving me, or everyone feels like they're abandoning me, and I feel like I'm all alone, and I feel like maybe I don't fit in, or I feel like I don't have anything figured out. And maybe you're at this time in your life, well, I really need reassurance right now. I need reassurance that everything's going to be okay. I need comfort and hope for the future and for this time in my life right now. And I think we're going to go and reflect back to the past. Because one thing I think a lot of us don't focus on right now in the present is one time the version of you in the past was looking at something and said, wow, I really want that. And now in the present, you have that. And you maybe don't realize that. And you look back and you take that for granted because that person in the past would love to be in your position right now, or love to have acquired that thing that you have right now, or love to have that dream that you're actually living, and you don't even realize that because you're in it now. You're comfortable, right? You're comfortable in this position. You're like, oh, wow, I already have this. It's not a big deal. I'm comfortable. I live like this, or I've had this now. I'm in this relationship, or I have these friends that I've always wanted, and maybe I've achieved this thing that I've always wanted to do, or traveled to this place that I've wanted to go, and you actually did that. And in the past, you didn't have any of that, and now you do. And maybe it's none of those things that I mentioned, but it's something. The person in the past was like, wow, I want that so bad. I don't think I'll ever achieve that. I don't think I'll ever have that. And they were in the same predicament that you are now, saying, wow, I need hope for that. I need some reassurance and some comfort that I'm actually going to be able to attain that. I'm actually going to have that in my life. And now you do. And now you're comfortable. And now you're like, oh, I really want this and this, and I don't have that. Or maybe it's not something you want, but maybe you're in this predicament where you don't feel, suitable, or you don't feel like you have these things coming towards you and you're not aligning with these things.
I think sometimes it's also having your standards really high. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, you can't have your standards to a certain point, but it's like looking back in the past, the things that maybe you had standards for, you did accomplish them, right? So maybe using that for like the future and being like, okay, well, like, I'm going to use this as like inspiration to like have standards for these things, because if I accomplish those things, then I can accomplish these in the future.
Like you're building up from that moment. And I think that you don't understand that you're strong. You've overcome all of that. Those challenges that you went through, you've overcame all of that. Right? So you can overcome this challenge right now. And that's why it's important to reflect on who you used to be sometimes, because you can say, I'm not the same person I was then. I'm growing. And that's why I'm in this predicament right now. That's why I feel like I've lost all hope, because I'm growing. You're transitioning. This is growth. This is a part of growth. This isn't something where, oh, something's wrong with me and I'm not doing the right thing. No, this is a part of growth. Growth is a process that's going to cause pain. It's going to cause a little friction in our life. People are going to come and go and leave. But that's teaching us something. That's teaching us something about ourselves. That's teaching us that some people aren't meant to be on this road with us. And if somebody left your life right now, well, something new is going to come in, something that's aligning with your purpose. Anytime somebody leaves you, you have to understand, okay, well, I'm transitioning into this new portion of my life now, and maybe they're not going to fit in this portion of my life how they used to. I've grown, I've shed that skin, I'm this new person, and maybe they're not a part of this journey now. Their chapter in my book has ended, and you have to understand that it's not about, oh, there's something wrong with me, people leave me, they don't want to be in a relationship with me. No, that's not the problem. You're growing, you're evolving.
And they're just not the right people. I think a lot of people, as time goes on, you realize that, I don't want to say people are like, they don't stick around. You know what I'm saying? Like, the right people stick around if they're supposed to be in your life path, but like if they're not, Just let them go. Just let them go, because new people that are supposed to be around you and maybe better people for you will eventually come along.
And some people are here just for a season.
Yeah.
They're not here to be your lifelong friend or your lifelong significant other. Sometimes they're just there because, as you were saying, they're training you. They're
like lessons.
Lessons aren't bad. I think we kind of put a lot of negative connotation on lessons.
Oh yeah, it's a lesson.
It's a lesson. Oh, why is this another lesson? Hey, if you didn't go through all that lessons, you wouldn't be here where you are now. If you didn't go through all those lessons in relationship, maybe you wouldn't meet that person that you're in this relationship with now.
The way I look at it, though, is like lessons. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, lessons are like a bad thing. That tells me that whatever, caused those lessons or whatever you went through, you're still not healed from it. Because once you're like finally healed from it, you're like, oh, I'm glad that I went through those, because look at who I am now. I've completely grown. I'm glowing. I'm fine. Like all those things in the past, all those friends that I lost, whatever, like, look at where I am now. I'm doing 10 times better. Like, and without those people, I wouldn't push who I am now.
And I'll give you a little comfort that maybe if you're not feeling like you're glowing right now and you feel, oh, I'm at the worst portion of my life right now. I feel like I'm not at my maximum potential or even mildly there. You're going to get there, okay? If you're going through all of this right now, you're taking one step further each day, okay? You're leveling up. As we just said, you're not that person you were from the past. So what does that say? That says you've leveled up. You've changed, right? And you're just going to keep going up from here, okay? You're not going to let yourself fall down. Don't stay in that, oh, I have no hope. We're going to allow ourselves to understand we've grown. If we're losing people, that's a sign that I'm letting go of the things that are no longer going to be useful in this life and move on to the next thing in this chapter of my book that's actually going to be beneficial for me. Friends that are going to align with my purpose, a relationship that's going to align with my purpose. Not even friends or relationships, but the things in your life. Maybe if you lost something, you have to understand that one door closes so another door can open. And that's the biggest piece of comfort I can give you when you feel like things are falling apart. Things are falling apart to be put together in a different way. Okay? And maybe they're being put together in a different way because you're now meant to pursue something different. Something new is coming into your life and you have to be prepared for it. So the universe or God's going to give you all of these little lessons and all of these little challenges and obstacles so you can make your breakthrough. So you can say, oh, all of these things I'm going through right now are preparing me for something better.
And what I like to say too, I'm sure other people have heard of this because I see it a lot too, but a lot of people think that, and I think it's true, but God will take certain people out of your life, especially if you won't let them leave. Like if you're the type of person that just doesn't like people to leave, or you're just like, you're not going to let them leave because you really love them. You know what I'm saying? God will take them out of your life because they're not the right person or the right people for you, right? Like friends and stuff. So at the beginning you think, oh my God, I'm like super upset about it. But like years will go down and you're like, oh, like that's a good thing they left because now I have like way better friends and way better people in my life. But you don't realize it until you've completely grown. It
was like a blessing in
disguise.
So
don't sit there and think that when the universe or God takes something out of your life that it's a bad thing, because it's not. Maybe at like the moment it's bad because you're like sitting there and it's like a lot to take on. But after a little bit, just remember, better things come along and the right things will come along at the right time.
And I want to mention that consistency is important here. Consistency of taking those little steps over perfection. Things aren't going to be perfect, okay? You're not going to have all hope or nothing's going to fall together perfectly in a day. It takes time and it takes those small steps of self-love and self-care, and those small steps of saying, okay, I'm going to work towards this. I'm going to work towards building myself in this way. It's not about being perfect, okay? It's not about saying, oh, I have to do this strictly. It's not about that. It's about making effort to move forward. And if you're doing that, you should say, I'm doing something. I'm moving towards something. I'm going to achieve this. Everything is going to be fine. Growth is something that takes time. I want to mention that. And when you're in this stage, there's no say of how long this is going to last. It's the way that you look about it. If you're confused at where you are right now and you feel like things are falling apart, it's your job to say, I'm going to keep moving forward so things can come together, because you're going to move towards your purpose.
Yeah.
You're moving towards something. You're aligning with these things. And one day you're going to look back and say, all those things that I said I wouldn't have, those things that I didn't know if I was going to have, I now have them.
Yeah.
Because I held on. I kept thinking, this is going to work out. Everything's going to work out. Just remember that things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's comforting, right? We all say, oh yeah, things happen for a reason. Is it
But
just a
at the
piece of
end of it,
comfort?
though, it really does. It really all does happen for a reason.
It does. Those people left for a reason. You entered this place for a reason. Maybe you got invited here for a reason. Maybe you decided not to do this for a reason. There's things that you do and there's reasons why they happen,
Yeah.
okay? So if you decide, oh, I don't want to pursue this anymore, if this person doesn't want to be around me anymore, I don't want to do this anymore, there's a reason for that, okay? Because you have strong draws towards things, I feel. And I feel like you said, you could get attached to things and all of a sudden, poof, they're out of your life. And it might not be a person, it could be a thing. And it's poof, it's gone, right? Well, maybe there's a reason for that, because you're trying to be directed towards something else. You're trying to be directed towards your journey and your purpose. So you have to understand that these things just align, how they're supposed to align.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to understand, especially if you're kind of in this stage where you don't know if you're evolving or you're growing. It's important to understand that you are aligned with something and you're going to be directed towards that. Do you agree?
Yeah, because I've said this a lot, but like I say, is when you want something or the things that you're going after towards, it's like putting it in a Google map and then God taking you to it, but it's like a journey and you don't know what's along the path. And I know I say it a lot, but really, if you really sit there and you think about it, it's really true.
And what's meant to be is going to be. You are who you are for a reason, okay?
Yeah.
So don't say, oh, I don't fit in with this and I've never really had this. Well, you're the way you are for a reason.
Yeah.
So don't look at yourself and analyze yourself and criticize yourself and put all this judgment on yourself and all this negative energy because you feel everyone else feels this way.
Nobody's going to be the same person.
No.
Because if everybody was the same person, life would be boring, right? So don't sit there and put yourself down and feel like, oh, yeah, like this and that, and I'm comparing myself towards others.
And don't sit there and be negative on yourself.
No.
Do not be harsh on yourself. Be kind to yourself, okay? You are a person. You're a person who's meant to do great things or meant to pursue something, right? We always say this.
Yeah.
And don't let other people's beliefs on how they choose to control their life and manage their life project onto you.
Yeah.
Okay? If they think there's something wrong with you, if they think you're quote unquote weird, or they think you don't fit in with those types of people, that's okay because maybe you're meant to fit in with different types of people. Okay? So you have to just truly comprehend that.
Yeah.
That sometimes you're going to be placed in different areas compared to other people, and you're the way you are for a reason.
Yeah, and honestly remember that everybody's growing, so everybody's going to go their own paths. Like if, you know, and I'm not saying, even if you do end up going your own paths with people, and maybe you did have a really close friend with someone, and you're like, oh, I miss being around them. Just remember, people do come back together in the future. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, like, you know, maybe you did have a good friend group and you lost that friend group and you're worried about it. People come back along.
And sometimes you're removed from certain people's life to take time to grow for yourself.
Yeah, and
Maybe
really
there's-
find who you are.
Maybe there's some things that you need to figure out about yourself and some strengths that you need to develop and acquire. And to develop those, maybe that requires being removed from people's lives
Yeah.
or people being removed from you because you need to take time to develop certain traits or certain habits. And not even habits, but maybe there's something about you that you haven't fully mastered yet. Maybe you haven't mastered boundaries.
Yeah.
And now you need to master boundaries. And you're being removed from these people's life to kind of master that or master, don't put all your energy into people or don't become attached so easily.
Yeah.
So these things all happen for a reason, right? And truly just understand what's meant to be is going to be. Okay? If you're meant to have something, if something is meant for you, it's not going to run away from you. Okay? It's going to be on your path. So if it's truly meant for you, it'll find its way to you and you'll find your way to it. Okay? So don't sit here and contemplate, oh, is this going to happen to me? Is this going to happen to me? What about this? What about that? Everything is going to happen to you that's meant to happen to you. You just have to be willing to receive it and keep putting effort towards it.
Yeah.